I made my first feature the very last day on a $250,000 budget. Let me break it down for you. Hello, I'm Cedric Jouarie, writer, producer, and director of the 2018 revenge thriller The Very Last Day. One question that seems to be recurring when I present the film to an audience is to know how much the film cost. But even when you say that it was made for $250,000, it leaves more questions than it gives answers. So today I'm going to give you a full breakdown of the film's budget. Okay, so first of all, I want to tell you that this is the production budget, not the total budget. Total budget would also include marketing, legal fees, festivals, and so on and so forth. So this is just the production budget. So let's get to it. First, I'm going to break it down roughly, and then I will go a little bit more into details. If you divide the budget into like 5 parts, the cast and crew cost $90,000. Then the production equipment cost $110,000. The digital camera support, I will explain later what this means, cost $5,000. Editorial, everything related to editing, cost $25,000. And then finally, the digital finish cost $20,000. First, let's focus on the cast and crew. The part for the talents was $30,000. The direction department, that's me and the directing team, cost $16,700. The production department, which is the producer and everybody in the producing team, cost $12,100. On the camera and lights department, that's the DP, his assistants, but also the gaffer and his assistants, cost $11,100. The set, props, and wardrobe department cost $6,000. The hair, makeup, and special effects department cost $8,000. On the sound department, the budget was $3,300. And finally, on the education, the budget was $2,800, about $30,000 for the talent. When we shot the movie, there were 30 speaking parts. After the final edit, it's a bit less than that because some parts have been actually edited out. But yeah, 30 speaking parts, including 3 leads, about half a dozen supporting roles, and some small parts. On the direction department, when I made the movie, I did not pay myself. But just because I didn't pay myself doesn't mean that I don't have a value. So I had to put a number on me to come up with the final budget. So for myself, I gave $6,000, which is a fairly low amount, but it makes sense with the rest of the salaries on the movie. So on the directing part, we have me, there's my first AD, the casting director was also second AD, the script supervisor, and we also had a set photographer and someone for the making of. So that's the directing department. The production department is the producer, of course, who is Danki Zhuang, my wife. But again, she didn't get the salary, just like me, but I had to put a number there again for the budget. We also had a line producer for the pre-production and the line producer for the production, because the line producer for the pre-production could only cover that period of time before she went actually to France. So we had to have someone else to take care of the actual shooting. The line producer for the pre-production, she covered 3 days of an early shoot we did that would cover roughly 70-80% of the flashbacks. And so we also had a line producer for the actual shoot for the 25 remaining days. The movie was shot over 28 days total, and also a location manager. On the camera and lights department, that covers the DP, the first AC who was focus puller, the second AC who was also data wrangler, the gaffer, and 2 assistants. But actually, it was more than a team of 3. They were like a bunch of interns in the light crew and also in the sets crew and also interns in the production crew. For the sets, props, and wardrobe department, well, that's kind of self-explanatory. We had a set designer, prop master, wardrobe, and wardrobe assistant. So that's them. For the hair, makeup, and special effects department, we had hair and makeup, also special effects makeup, who needed to have some help on the last few days because it was more intense and more shots, less time to shoot everything. So that's it. The sound department is our sound mixer and the boom operator, just a very small crew. And the education team was, I hired an acting coach for our young actress. She was very good in the casting, but she had never acted in a movie before. Basically, she needed to learn how to take directions. And that's what her coach helped her with. And both Dodo, the coach, did an amazing job, and Zhang Xuan was mind-blowing during the shoot. And we also have a fight choreographer. We don't have that many fights in the movie, but just a little bit that needed to be choreographed, rehearsed for safety, and then shot. So that's why we had a fight choreographer. The budget for the production equipment was $110,000, and it breaks down like this. For the camera lenses and accessories, $63,600. For the costumes, $4,000. For the set dressing and props, $6,000. For the set rental, $10,000. For the beauty and special effects makeup, $2,000. For the car rental, gas and parking, $8,000. For the craft service and expendables, $14,400. Finally, for the sound rental, $2,000. Now, if I go a little bit more into detail, I know a lot of you like to talk about gear. So the camera was shot on the Canon C300 Mark II at the time, and we shot the movie mostly on CNE lenses. And the one we used for 70, maybe 80% of the shot was the 35 millimeter lens. We also used Lens Baby 35 for some POV shots when one character is drugged. Besides that, like shoulder rig, director monitor for me, there were also like 2 monitors on the camera itself, one for the DP and another one for the focus puller. And we had obviously tripod, hi-hat, dolly, gimbal, V-Log batteries and charger. We had, I think 9 or 12 batteries, I forgot, on set. Besides that, like cables, the follow focus, the focus sweep, the focus extender ring, all these kind of things. It's never very expensive in itself, but when you add one and another and another and another, it kind of adds up. So that's how we end up with a budget for the camera lenses and accessories of $63,600. For the costumes, like I said, when we shot the movie, there were 30 speaking parts, and we also had extras. Okay, so the extras, they came with their own clothes, but because of the nature of the film, and it goes into like violent territory at a certain point, basically mud, blood splatter. Once an outfit doesn't match the need to redo some takes from one angle or another, then we had to add more than one set of some costumes. In the set dressing and props, in the movie, there's a sequence in like a little shrine in the forest, and actually that shrine was built from the ground up by our set team. It looks like stone, but actually it's very like plywood, like very, very light. You couldn't bang it too much or it would crumble down. And that's a perfect example of movie magic. Set rental is self-explanatory. We have a lot of locations. Probably the movie was more ambitious than it had any right to be, but because it was my first feature and I was financing it, I thought, let's go for it and spend what needs to be spent. For the beauty and special effects makeup, I already said it before in the cast and crew, right? But the fact is, you need equipment. Basically, the product, the expendables. Not that we have like gallons of blood, but we do have some blood and some wounds. So like latex and all those products, they are never very expensive when you buy a few, but when you put everything together, it kind of amounts to a certain sum. For the car rental, gas and parking, because we thought we would save money if we have like more people in cars together, so we rented cars for the shoot, but we didn't have enough money to hire drivers, so some key members of the crew, including myself, were actually drivers for a lot of the cast and crew. Craft service and expendables, when we shot, we had one of the coldest winters ever in Taiwan, and we ended up buying pocket warmers and camping heaters, and the budget for this alone was $3,500 because it was so cold, and when we shoot outside you can't have a crew freezing to death. Finally, sound rental. Well, my sound people, my little team of two, they also needed basically batteries and some extra mini mics. I think my sound mixer guy, he had probably 3 or 4 mini mics, but sometimes we had more than 3 or 4 people talking in the same scene. So that included a little bit of rental as well. Digital camera support. So what is that? Well, basically it's the backup station, the laptop that I bought for this, and also all the media and accessories, like adapters and things like this, card readers and stuff. And also we had 4 hard drives on set to make 2 redundant copies of everything that we shoot as soon as we got the card out of the camera. And also every night when I came back home, I would back up again on my computer, on the editing computer. So that means for everything that we shot, we actually had 3 copies. 2 copies made on set and 1 made every night at home. The editorial budget is $25,000. So that comprises, again, an editor. That's me. I did not pay myself, but I had to put a number in the budget. $7,000. Assistant editor, $2,500. Editing station, $8,000. Grading monitor, $1,100. Storage, 8 TB, $2,400. ADR, $2,000. Foley, $2,000. The assistant editor was not hired after the shoot. She was pretty much hired at the same time as we started shooting because I wanted to go as fast as possible into the post-production. So I had her working on all the synchronizing image and sound and doing some rough edits of the scenes basically as soon as one was shot. One scene was shot one day, she would have the media the next day and start with the rough edit and synchronizing and stuff. And finally, digital finishing. There's the post-production supervisor. Again, not a person, just me. I mean, not someone we hired, but I had to put a number on that task in the budget. The post-production supervisor is $5,000, composer $5,000, sound post-production $5,000, VFX $305,000, and deliverables, basically the DCP, $1,500. Composer David Anderson Wiley is not only a friend but also super talented. I met him, that's funny, I met him in a festival where I presented one of my early shorts, even though he lives in the States and at the time I lived in France, but we always kept in touch, and he did the music for a few of my shorts that I made in France. And when came time to do the feature, he was the first person I asked. When he read the script, he told me that he would do it for $1. So what I did is I did a counter offer where I added $4,999. I also had someone do the sound post-production because as much as I can do editing, I really know nothing about sound post. So I had to hire someone for this. I had a guy do VFX. Again, this is not something that I can do. So we have a few VFX shots. The most important in the movie is the burning house, but there are actually here and there some little shots like erasing something that I don't want in the image, or there are some new species in the movie that also involved a little bit of VFX. So that's what it is. And finally, the deliverable, that's the DCP, and that's something I could do myself, but you still have to buy the license for the software and the actual drive. So there you go. Okay, so that's it, the full breakdown of the very last day budget. I hope this was interesting for you. If you have any question, use the comment section. I would be happy to answer anything you would like to ask. And that's about it. So thank you for watching and au revoir.